Now broadcasting from the Next Gen Conservative Studio in sunny South Florida, bringing you the latest in politics, current events, and pop culture. This is the Whitfield Report with Sam Whitfield.
And good day, everyone. Welcome to the show. I hope everyone is doing well, and I hope you all had a good Super Bowl weekend, which we will cover a little bit here during today's program. But first off, I want to say welcome to those of you watching this on Spotify. Yes, you heard me, watching this on Spotify. Big announcement, ladies and gentlemen. We are now officially, not only are we on Spotify, but the video version of the podcast is also available on Spotify now as well, going forward. So basically what that means is that you'll be able to put on an episode of the show, and it'll pop up just like this, and you'll be able to see me and whatnot. And then if you need to, let's say you want to, just listen to it, you can exit out of the app and the audio will still play. And then, you can come back in and watch it or do whatever. It's almost exactly like the Joe Rogan Experience podcast on Spotify as well. Now, the biggest difference, between me and the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, other than the fact that, he's a Spotify exclusive and he has way more listeners than, any of us in the podcasting sphere do. I do want to assure people that this podcast will still be available on YouTube in the video format, and it will also be available on Apple Podcasts and all the other audio platforms as an audio podcast. Now, I don't know why you wouldn't want to go on to Spotify and have the option to watch and listen at any time to these shows. Could be pretty fun for some of you. But you have the option now, so that's the big announcement. And I'm very honored and thankful that Spotify/Anchor has allowed the show to participate in this video platform early on, as far as podcast creation goes. And Anchor and Spotify have been great partners for the show for the past 4 years. And during last week's Thursday show, which was audio only, I did talk a little bit about the Joe Rogan controversy between him and Spotify. 2 weeks ago, if you remember, on the Saturday show, I interviewed Matt from Foulball Productions, and we talked a lot about that. By the way, the video version of that is now up on Spotify as well, if you want to go watch that. But, at first there was major speculation that Spotify was the one censoring Joe Rogan, and the Spotify deal wasn't as great for Rogan as everyone thought it was. Well, apparently it turns out that Joe Rogan himself deleted the episodes that were controversial. He deleted like 75 of them. Why he did that himself, I don't really know. A lot of people are saying that he probably felt pressured to do that because of all the backlash that he received, quote unquote, from the social justice mob, which, Joe, word of advice, you know, you of all people should be the least concerned with bowing to the, mob that's trying to say that you're a racist and, a scumbag. You've got $100 million, buddy. There's no reason to, get rid of any of your shows, as far as I'm concerned. But Rogan made his decision, and it's not one that I agree with. On the one hand, I think he should have kept the episodes and whatnot. But on the other hand, when the mob is coming for your, your reputation and the reputation of your company and making life difficult for your employees and whatnot, I don't agree with it, but I certainly understand the temptation to just, delete those episodes and just, be done with it. The problem is, for Joe, is he's not one of those figures that simply can delete episodes and people will forget about them. I mean, I'm sure that there are like bootlegged versions of all those deleted Alex Jones episodes and the Ted Nugent ones as well, and the Michael Malice ones. I think Michael Malice actually has his own copies of those episodes. I'm not sure about that, but irregardless, it was his decision to make that. Now, I for one am not too happy with the fact that he did decide to cancel, or I guess delete those episodes. I think he should have kept them up, but it's already done. So I'm not going to boycott him. I still enjoy Rogan immensely. And I'm still going to continue listening to the episodes, when he has people on that I do like. And I'm still going to support Spotify. And Anchor, since they've been so good to this show in particular. And, for those of you who have stayed with the show for a long time, you may remember a few years ago, but during the whole Owen Benjamin fiasco and during the whole Gummy incident, people most likely scorned Owen fans were they were review bombing the podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all these other platforms, and Anchor actually kind of stepped in and emailed me and turned off the comments on Apple Podcasts for a while and kind of cleaned out the reviews that were obviously just troll reviews, and helped keep this show afloat, because it seems to me that they actually do stand behind free speech. Now, are they perfect? Probably not. Every every group or company or entity of people have flaws. But, we tend to bitch a lot about big tech, kind of in the conservatarian media spectrum. We always bitch about big tech and all these platforms, censoring people. And trust me, it still is a problem, namely on YouTube. But I do like to give credit where credit is due, and Spotify has been excellent in supporting us. So I really appreciate that, and happy to have the vidcast on Spotify as well. So I hope you guys are enjoying this experience so far. Now, speaking of cancel culture and whatnot, how was your guys' Super Bowl this weekend, folks? Mine was pretty good. You know, I didn't really have a stake in either the two teams. To be honest, I did root for Cincinnati, but that was only because, I Cincinnati kind of seemed like the underdog, I guess, and so I just kind of decided to root for them based on that. But I wasn't really heavily invested in the game, um, since neither the Broncos, my home team, or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is my current home team now that I live in Florida. Neither of them were playing in the Super Bowl, so I was more of a casual observer this year. Didn't really have any stakes in the game, but it was fun to watch nonetheless. And one thing I noticed was that people were really, for some reason, the Super Bowl halftime show this year really, it got a lot of controversy, folks, and I don't really know why. Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and Eminem and all these other like rap and hip hop stars were, at the Super Bowl this year during the halftime show, and to be honest, folks, anyone who knows me knows that I'm mainly a classic rock guy. I'm mainly a rock and roll guy. I do like some of Snoop Dogg stuff. I do like Eminem stuff from 8 Mile and whatnot. But I wouldn't really say like I'm a fan, per se. It's not really my genre. So I didn't really like the Super Bowl halftime show, but that was really because it wasn't really my thing, right? So I couldn't really get into it. But I didn't really hate it either. With that being said, Charlie Kirk, who, yes, I know it seems like I'm always shitting on Charlie Kirk. I promise you that it is for good reason. Though, Charlie Kirk made a tweet that, let me see if I can pull up here. Let's see here. Scrolling. Let's see. Okay. Here we are. Apologies for the dead air. So Charlie Kirk, the esteemed leader of the, conservative youth movement, or the millennial conservatives, whatever you want to call them, the talking head who runs Turning Point, and I, like I said, I know I shit on Charlie Kirk a lot, but it's It's for reasons like this, ladies and gentlemen. He tweeted out during the Super Bowl after the halftime show. He said, the NFL is now a league of sexual anarchy. This halftime show should not be allowed on television. Okay. And I quote tweeted that, as those of you watching can see. And I said sexual anarchy. Sexual anarchy? Kind of like the TPUSA parties in West Palm, right? Now, folks, let me explain something to you about Charlie Kirk. And this is a weird thing that the kind of the right has gotten into the last few years that I don't really get and I don't really understand. It's this whole idea of both the far left and the far right have gone into this whole kind of purity spiral over sexuality. And my whole thing, simply put, is, as a kind of conservative libertarian, I would say that my viewpoint, as I've stated on this show before, is that as long as, you and your partner or partners are two consenting adults, and nothing illicit is going on, that harms either of you, and as long as you're not involving children, you do you, basically. That's kind of my take on it as far as policy goes, as far as politics goes, right? Just, don't be stupid, don't harm anyone, but really just live and let live, right? I wouldn't have a problem with Charlie Kirk's view on this so much if he were consistent, right? But the reality is this is the same guy, right, who has an organization, Turning Point USA, which admittedly caters to college kids and whatnot. But a lot of their marketing and a lot of their memes, revolves around, like, having memes of, like, gorgeous, buxom blonde women, featured in their memes and in their promotional materials. And, for a long time they had Tommy Lahren come and speak and whatnot at their events. And, yeah, I mean, I suppose one could argue that, Tommy Lahren is, certainly a voice in the conservative movement, but let's not kid ourselves. Tommy Lahren is a very attractive woman, and, I'm not saying that she got her job completely because of her looks, but let's just say that, her looks definitely played a part in her getting, to where she is in media, along with a lot of these other, commentators, woman commentators on the right. Sorry, it's just, that's just fact. And I don't begrudge them necessarily of that either. But, Mr. Purity Spiral, Sexual Anarchy over here, he brings on all these, hot, attractive women, to promote Turning Point USA and whatnot, right? But then, the other thing with Turning Point is, I've heard stories, and it's fairly common knowledge now that at the Winter at West Palm Beach events that they have during the winter, there are, people hook up because it's a bunch of horny college students, fraternizing with each other. And, yes, they may be conservative, but, here's the thing. a horny college kid is still a horny college kid, no matter what side of the spectrum they're on. And I don't care, who you are. It's just that those are just facts, right? And you can say, not me, but come on. Everyone knows. And, so I don't really believe that Charlie Kirk was actually upset by the, Super Bowl halftime show this year. I think he was just saying that because his, his donors, who are, pretty conservative and, his donors who are conservative boomers and are into that whole sort of sexual purity thing. I think they were the ones who were kind of expecting him to, tweet that. But I do want to kind of click on this because the memes that came out of this are great, right? Especially this one at the top here. If you're watching this, just because you are offended doesn't mean you are right. I mean, people both on the left and the right are just shitting on him in the tweets. Oh yeah, and then here, as you can see, yeah, they've got I forgot about this. They brought out Kimberly Guilfoyle, and she was doing like some really kind of sexualized dance. They had the fireworks out for her, right? As you guys in the video can see here. And by the way, Kimberly Guilfoyle is definitely hot. There's no question. I would definitely, if you want to know the truth. Oh hell yes, I would. Especially since I think she's 40 now, and if you've stuck around the show for long enough, you know that yours truly. I do tend to like MILFs and whatnot at times, but yeah. More memes of just Charlie Kirk getting roasted. So, oh, and I love this. So change the channel, but also where was your outrage at our former first lady? Exactly. So people were just crapping on Charlie Kirk as he rightly deserved. Melania can also get it. Even now, she still can. So yeah, another purity spiral from old Mr. Charlie Kirk. What are you gonna do, huh? And this is just, again, another example of absurdity. Well, and then you had some of the left, out there too, they actually saying that it wasn't, political enough, right? They didn't focus enough on Black Lives Matter and whatnot. Despite the fact that they had the Black National Anthem, they had, they did have a slight mention of Black Lives Matter during the Super Bowl. I think Eminem took a knee or something. And, here's the thing. Do I agree with politicizing the Super Bowl? No, I don't. And that's kind of my ultimate point. I wish they would leave all this stuff behind. But I'm at the point now where you know, sports and the Super Bowl has just been politicized so much now that, like, you just have to pick your battles. And, for me, it's just like, well, I can either enjoy the game, and enjoy it for what it is, or I can just endlessly bitch and moan about how, it's just become a big social justice fest, right? So, I chose to just enjoy the game and enjoy the company of my neighbors and whatnot, and enjoy the commercials. Oh, that was the other thing. All the people were like, "Oh, there were so many crypto commercials." Yeah, that's because Coinbase had a commercial, and then there was another trading website that had a commercial as well during the Super Bowl. And I tried to scan that QR code like everyone else did, but I guess the site crashed for Coinbase, and I guess they were running like a thing where, like, if you signed up, you got $15 worth of crypto currency of your choice. I might have to have Mr. Whiskey back on to find out what that's all about. So, um, yeah, overall, the Super Bowl wasn't bad. Other than the fact that neither of my teams played, it was just fun, and I can't really say too much more about that. So, um, yeah, I think the Super Bowl went well. Baseball is going to be starting back up here soon, I imagine. I must admit, I don't really like, I follow football, but I don't really follow sports ball in general, as they, you know, call it. Um, so that may be like a segment for Wet Sandwich to comment on if she ever decides to pop up on a podcast. But anyway, oh yeah, and let's see what else we have here. Um, Now at this point, ladies and gentlemen, we don't know if we're going to be at this time when I'm recording this podcast, we are not yet at war with Russia, but it seems like we could be going to war with Russia um, at any given time. I know that they've got troops mobile. Russia has troops mobilized on the ground in Ukraine, and it looks like we may be sending troops over there soon. Personally, I don't think we should really go. Um, I think just stay out of the conflict, and let's also not start a conflict if we can avoid it. We seem to do that a lot, though. In the last 20 years, we seem to go into areas that don't really need us in there, start conflicts, and then just leave. And then we have things like Afghanistan all over again. And it's just weird. And, my thing is we should stay out. I don't know if Biden's going to allow us to stay out. I hope he does, because, like I said, we don't really need to be there. But, at this time, we are not going into Ukraine to fight Russia. I hope that stays the the same way. And at this point, we are just, pray that the troops here stay home and stay safe, and that nothing happens, and that Biden remains somewhat coherent and competent, because, geez, I would hate to have him as a wartime commander while this whole thing gets off the ground. But, at any rate, folks, that'll do it for today's Thursday show. I really don't have anything else to talk about. I might be getting a guest on the Saturday show. That will be nice if we can do that. I'm looking at getting Bellend from Ian Ellis LLC to join us. So, when we get that going, we'll let you know, and should be pretty good. But in the meantime, folks, I want to thank you all for, tuning in and watching and or listening to the podcast. And I'll see you guys on Saturday, and until then, take care and have a good rest of your Thursday and / Friday. Alright, folks, take care and God bless.
Thanks for listening to The Whitfield Report on the NGC Network. Please visit Sam's website at www.thesamwhitfield.com and support Sam on Patreon at patreon.com/Whitfield Report. Until next time, God bless, God save this great nation, and God, freedom, legacy, in that order.